I think most of you are aware of our procedures, but I'll go ahead and review them as we begin our meeting together. There's two opportunities for public comment tonight. One is going to happen here in just a moment, in which there's an opportunity to comment on any public agenda on the item for today, on the agenda, any item on the agenda for today. And then also, as the meeting comes to a close, there's opportunity for public comment on anything pertaining to the school district. From my understanding, when it comes to the sign up, no one has signed up for comment on agenda items. And so we'll move on from that. I'm going to actually turn to the board for any comments that you would have before we begin our meeting today. I do have one thing just to make mention of here today. At our public work session, which was held on January the 10th, 2022, a parent raised a concern and question about nutrition alternatives for students when a school runs out of food that's listed on the item. And Dr. Musser asked, after the meeting was over, Dr. Musser asked the principals looked into the situation that generated the question. After spending some time investigating those details, the principals reported back that the situation was actually unfounded, and they had reached out to the parent to provide additional information about the specific situation that was described. As part of our follow-up with the public who may have heard that question or heard about it later on, we want to reassure everyone that our food services department seldom runs out of any kind of food that's listed on the menu. On the rare occasion that specific food items are selected by more students than anticipated, there are several other options available to students. Alternative options include another hot meal, a salad, cereal, various things. Our food services director and his team do an outstanding job of feeding our students nutritious food and in line with the guidelines that are presented and absolutely on a budget as well. Because there's been several other occasions where our principals were asked to follow up on concerns that were first raised at a board meeting, they have kindly requested that we remind parents and community that school administrators and their school staff are available to help with questions and concerns. And if a parent has questions about lessons, curriculum, they should begin by contacting their child's teacher directly. If they have questions about other school services, they could go to the school principal and others who are providing those services. If a matter cannot be resolved at the building level, the principals will seek help from additional district-wide administrators or from the superintendent. Hearing things for the first time at a board meeting makes it difficult for principals to address the situations in a timely and informed manner. And they are hoping that questions that come to them directly, they're hoping that those questions can come to them directly so they can be more supportive at the time of the concern. As president of the school board, I would surely echo their request. As I pointed out before, the school calendar outlines a process for raising concerns, at first at the classroom level and then at the school level. And detailed information about situations is most available at the school level as well. And that information can help resolve matters quickly. Waiting until a board meeting or bringing it up in a public forum makes it difficult to address those situations in a timely and confidential manner that protects the rights of our students and ensures that their needs are being met. So I want to just thank you for your kind attention to this request from our principals. I look forward to a productive process that will help us fulfill our mission of inspiring and supporting every child, every chance, every day. Thanks very much. Having concluded the first part of comment part of our meeting, I'm going to turn to Dr. Musser for our presentation this evening from the middle school.
Okay. Yeah, checking to see my sound here. Okay. Can you hear me in the back? Okay, I got this. Oh, I better be careful now. All right. I just want to say thank you to the middle school and all the work they've been doing to prepare for 8th grade electives. We are so excited that we could finally offer them this year. And some of the school board members got to see them actually on a tour of the building a couple of months ago. And I think we have some products here from some of the different classes that you've taken. So I'm excited to hear from you. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Bensing and Mr. DiMatteo for their comments, and then we'll hear from the students.
They're going to do a great job. Good evening. So I looked back at my notes, and it was approximately 5 years ago when we started talking about electives, 8th grade electives. It's when I first got to the middle school. And one of the things I did was opened up my office to staff and to students, said, hey, what's going on? What do you guys like? What do you want to do? What are you interested in doing? And you can imagine we got all kinds of fun ideas like pizza every day, and let's go to school on Wednesday. And that was just from the teachers, let alone the kids. The kids came up with the idea of, wouldn't it be great to specialize in something like an elective? And in talking to Mrs. Bensing and so forth, we thought, well, we're trying to get kids ready for high school, and the kids in high school are in a block. And we know that that's very different than our traditional schedule. So we put our heads together, we talked to the high school administration as well at the time, Dr. Musser. Could we create something like a block out of our first 2 periods for 8th grade electives, where the kids got some choice, student voice, student choice. Our teachers were excited about it because they were able to go into in-depth into some of these things to really get the kids excited to go to the high school. So we came up with the elective idea, and it was all of us together. It was great teamwork. And we were scheduled to run it last year, and we didn't get a chance to run it last year. So this year we're excited because we literally just finished our first group ever. And you see some of the students here, and they have some of their projects. Mrs. Bensing's going to talk to you a little bit about the process, about what kids get to do, what elective, and how that worked. But again, we focused on the student voice, student choice, and then our teachers were really supportive of it. So I'm going to let Mrs. Bensing talk a little bit about the process of how we came about it.
So students have the opportunity to review all the elective offerings with their parents, guardians at home, and then they choose their top 5. And then from that top 5, we're able to roster them into 2 electives for the year. The majority of students got their top 3, depending on size of the classes and whatnot, we have to look at that. But it's been an exciting process so far to see students excited about projects and concepts, and teachers, diving into new things and having the opportunity to dive deeper. Some of these students are coming from having only 15 days of class with Mr. Ocker or 15 days of class with Mrs. Barlow, who they're both here tonight celebrating their students from afar. So now they're able to have 90 straight days of 2 periods to really dive in. So I'm going to introduce our students, and they're going to briefly just tell you about their project and the elective experience. So for STEM Tech Ed, I have Alana, Taylor, and Carson here tonight. For Daily Living, I have Taylor and Jasmine here tonight. And then, for Visual Arts, Taylor and Jasmine. And then for Daily Living, Alex, Lana, and Abby are going to be sharing. So again, just share about your project and your experience. Okay, Alana's got to go first. She's excited.
So for my final project, I decided to do a honeycomb shell. And through the process, I've learned how to be patient with what I've done, because this fell apart a lot on me, and it was really annoying. But I finally was able to finish it by putting screws in where they connect, so it wouldn't fall apart on me. And I learned that you just have to be patient, and dedication is really what you need to finish projects.
Hi, I'm Taylor, and I'm going to talk about my final project, one of them. And this was a tray that I did, and it took a lot of brainstorming to figure out how to do the wood on the bottom. And I learned instead of the fundamental skills of the machinery.
Hi, I'm Carson Weaver, and this is my bandsaw box project. This was our first ever wood project in the STEM room, so we really got to learn a lot about the basics of woodworking. And I just love this project because we had so much freedom to choose what design, and that goes for all the projects. We just get so much freedom, and that's why I enjoy the course.
What's the other thing you made there?
This is a phone stand. It also can hold watches and keys here, so it's a multi-purpose phone stand.
Thanks.
I'm Taylor. In art, we made a lot of projects. We also went on a field trip to Inspire Pottery, and we each got to make a bowl on a pottery wheel. My favorite project that I made was this weaving, and what we did first was we sketched out a pattern or design on a piece of paper, and then we picked out colors for it, and then picked out the type of yarn that we wanted for each color, and then we weaved it on the wood.
My name is Jasmine Hudgens, and some of the projects we did were like 1-point perspective and like clay food and the weaving. But one of my favorite projects were the batik we did, where first we.
Can you hold them up, please? I can't see them. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm different.
Well, first what we did is we drew a picture on like a piece of paper of what we wanted for the batik. Then we had hot wax and we drew, like, put the paper under it and traced it. Then we painted the picture with watercolor fabric paint. Then we had an iron and ironed the picture to remove the hot wax. And then we added like separate things like the string and the little tassels on the end.
Hi, I'm Abby. My final project that we did was a cross stitch pillow. This took about like a month and a half, maybe 2 months to do. This took a lot of work and it really taught me patience because there's just like, there were points where I didn't want to do it because it taking me forever, but then, I don't know, I overcame it and did it. I don't know. I really liked the outcome and
I'm Lana. I was also at FCS. I did a pillow also, and I did mug rugs and a sock buddy. My favorite project was the sock buddy because I could be creative with the buttons and try a bunch of new things like the flowers made of ribbon.
I'm Alexander Porter, and I did a cross stitch pillow, counting cross stitch, and an apron. My favorite project that we did was the apron because we got to make our own apron, even though we were cooking in the FCS. And yeah, this took a while, but it was fun to make.
Excellent.
We also made the cookies for FCS, so it's kind of merged with the FCS or the NGHS appreciation for the school board.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so when we finished the semester, Mrs. Spencer said it was 90 days, 180 class periods. So it's the equivalent to what the block was when they switched. So it's a whole school year that they spent on this. And perseverance, right, guys? They got frustrated some days, but they stuck with it. They did a great job. We're really proud of them as the first ever to go through the electives. So any questions, they're ready.
Everything you guys did is amazing. I mean, just the detail of the cross stitch, that painted, that on the wax, that whole thing just, I don't think, I remember that butterfly you did that. I remember that. You were doing that. I didn't, or not butterfly, is it butterfly? Yeah. It was just, when you were doing that, the tree there and everything, it just was amazing. And I couldn't figure out how it's gonna look. When you showed it now, it's amazing. And all you guys did in the woodwork. Now, did you do the design? Did you do the design for that, or that just it was wasn't like a pre set of schematic you had, right? Okay, and that tray, that is really amazing. I just the skill level that you guys have for all you guys is really impressive. So I know we have some good talent in our school, and we have obviously it's been a very beneficial program. So kudos to you guys. I'm very impressed. What are you guys going to pursue this now after this? It's going to be once it's done. Are you guys going to do some more? Maybe like, I don't know, sell stuff you make, or what are you guys going to do?
I plan to go to high school to work woodworking because I'm very fascinated with it.
Yeah.
And I think they're
Yeah, I
into it
plan to
too.
do the same thing.
Wow. Yeah, still craftswork. I don't know if you guys ever went to like, these shows like I'm great art show, this kind of things. You see the skills there. It just is amazing. So, all you guys, I'm just very impressed. So thank you for coming and doing all this.
We're going to leave everything there. There's some more additional ones over here for the end. If anybody wants to come and see it, you're welcome to look at them.
Do you mind just holding them up, everybody, one more time so that we can all just see when you did it? Mrs. Fetzing, I know you often get a picture for you.
Yes, and I did assure them their projects will be here tomorrow morning because they said, oh, once we see all these nice projects, I think people are going to want some of these things. But these will be here for you tomorrow. I know they've worked really hard did some of you say you're going to be giving these as gifts to family and different pieces? They should be really proud of their hard work. Can we give them a round of applause?
And I just want to comment as far as the problem solving and all the adaptability and the perseverance that you mentioned, because we had a lot of people who talked about the Eagle Pact and the skills, and I think you really put them into place when you were doing these projects. So I think it sounds like you learned a lot, but I am curious, how many of you are planning to take courses like this at the high school now? So it really created an interest. And I'll be really curious to see if this influences any career choices down the road as well. So I know sometimes this is where it starts. Thank you for sharing.
Are you guys all eighth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just one question for this group over here. Can you all go like this? I just want to make sure you have all your fingers.
No,
There was no casualties in that. And I'm curious, Alex, did you make an apron because you like to cook?
We made an apron, all of us.
Okay. You want to all right.
That's a good way to sidestep the question.
The day we were at your class, were you guys doing the pumpkin muffins, whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The chocolate chips in them?
we did. It sounded gross.
Don't knock it till you try. Pumpkin chocolate chips, best thing in the world.
I hope you put something in this cookie.
Yes. That's right. All right, wow.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Donadio, Mrs. Fencing, and thank you for coming here tonight. We appreciate it. And to all parents who came out on a cold winter night to bring you here. Thanks for the cookies.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
We'll get these read tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much for that presentation. That was fun. It's always good to see what students are doing. We'll move on in our agenda to item number 2. Item number 2 is the approval of the minutes from the school board meetings held on December 20th, 2021, as well as January 10th, 2022, as per addenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion around those minutes? And hearing none, we'll go to roll call vote.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mrs. Bollinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel?
Yes.
Mr. Sensenig?
Yes.
Mr. Renninger?
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Grable?
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman?
Yes, item number 2 is passed by vote. Item number 3 is a treasurer's report, and you've had an opportunity of reviewing that. Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Second.
Thank you. And Mrs. Fox will lead us through that report.
Sure. This is the treasurer's report for December 1, 2021 through December 31, 2021. Our beginning balance on December 1, 2021 was $36,795,926.19. Our total receipts for the month totaled $3,399,874.93 for a total receipts plus beginning balance of $40,195,801.12. Our expenditures for the month totaled $8,930,487.49. There were 3 voided checks. Check number 155569 for U.S. Cutter for $781.20. That was lost in the mail. Check 156715 for TransPerfect Remote Interpreting. Again, a check lost in the mail for $53.40. And check number 156465 for NIMCO. It was a duplicate payment in the amount of $315.35. Our net expenditures totaled $8,929,337.74 for an ending balance on December 31, 2021 of $31,286,999.12. $266,463.38. End of report.
Thank you, Mrs. Fox. Any questions, comments, discussion around that? Hearing none, we'll go to roll call vote.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensenich,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman,
Yes. Item number 3 passed by unanimous vote. We'll go on to item number 4, which is the approval of the following investment made for the general fund. This is from December 17th, 2021. It's $1 million in the Pennsylvania School District Liquid Asset Fund at the rate of 0.15%, which will come due on December 16th, 2022. And is there a motion to approve that investment?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Mrs. Fox, I think you have some information about that as well.
Yeah, I'm just requesting approval for that investment made on December 17th. We transferred $1 million from the general fund into the CD pool to gain some interest on that money as it was sitting there. And again, as you said, the CD is due to mature on December 16, 2022.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments or questions or discussion around that motion? And hearing none, we'll go to roll call vote.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensenich,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman,
Yes. And item number 4 passed by unanimous vote as well. Item number 5 is the approval of the invoices in the amount of $1,156,929.19 as per addendum. Is there a motion to approve item number 5?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. You had an opportunity of reviewing those invoices and addressing the business office with any specific questions. Do you have anything we have for this evening? And hearing none, we'll go to roll call vote.
Mr. Sensenich,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman,
Yes. Item number 5 passed by unanimous vote. Item number 6 is the approval of the capital project fund account register in the amount of $188,040.52 as per addendum. And is there a motion to approve item number 6?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. And Mrs. Stoll will have some additional information on this item.
Okay, we have a payment to AEM Architects for construction phase billing, $23,976.02. And that has to do with the high school renovations project. Also with the renovations project, we have a payment to Freilich Corporation in the amount of $158,521.50. And that's for HVAC work. For the elementary, Adamstown Elementary, we have restriping of the gym floor game lines that were put on there for $5,285, and that is to Miller Flooring Company. And then we have another payment to Roberts Extra Space, and that's for storage unit rentals, 2 40-foot sea cans for storage for the high school while we're doing renovations. That payment is $258 for a total of $188,040.52. Are there any questions on those items?
Okay, thank you. Hearing no questions, we'll go to roll call vote on item number 6.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensenich,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman,
Yes. Item number 6 is passed by unanimous vote. Item number 7 is the approval of the Lancaster County Career and Technology Center budget for the 2022-2023 school year as per addendum. And is there a motion to approve item number 7?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. I'm going to begin. We have a good bit of information on this item, and I'll begin that with Dr. Musser.
Thank you, Reverend Eshman. I just want to say, first of all, the CTC is a place where many of our students have enjoyed their last year of high school. Some of them have begun in their junior years already. We have many students who have learned the skills in the trades because of their experience there at the CTC. And whenever I go to the award ceremonies there, I hear Cocalico, Cocalico, Cocalico over and over and over again. I believe that the hard work is really valued in this community, and there are many opportunities for very successful careers with some of the businesses that exist in this area. So this is something that we have supported strongly in years past and continue to support. So you'll see that reflected in the budget and the Cocalico share of that, just because of the sheer number of students. So Mrs. Stoll is going to talk a little bit about the financial aspect, and then Mr. Renninger, who is a representative on the CTC board, will also have some comments. So Mrs. Stoll.
Okay. Based on the proposed budget, the projected CTC cost to Cocalico School District for the 22-23 school year is estimated to be $988,638.19. And as you may recall, the CTC actually uses an index averaging method and a 3-year enrollment calculation to determine the average cost for each member school district. The CTC operating expenses have increased over the past several years, just like everything else. These increases, coupled with a $281,094 jump in instructional equipment, are netted by several areas that were actually decreased throughout the budget based on reduced needs. And this resulted in an overall increase on the budget of 2.74% in district contributions, or in dollars, it would be $406,107 over the current year budget. The CTC does receive federal Perkins grant to help cover expenses, and it also gets revenues in from the adult education programs. Remaining costs are covered through the payments made by participating school districts such as Cocalico. They do take a state vocational ed subsidy that they get from Pennsylvania, and they prorate it and credit it to each school district. So there is a net effect there that is done directly for each school district. Then at the end of every school year, there's an annual reconciliation that's performed. And a lot of times we end up getting a refund back. They take the actual cost versus the budgeted. We did receive rebates from the past 2 or 3 years. You have a ballot at each of your places, and after you cast your verbal vote, if you would please fill out your ballot and sign it and make sure that I get it before you leave this evening. That is a requirement of this vote. Mr. Renninger also sits on that board. He's part of the Joint Operating Committee, and he may have some additional comments. And if you would have any questions, you may ask him.
Yeah, I would just add to what Mrs. Stoll has already said, that most of the budget does come from the sending schools. 85 to 90% of the budget comes from the sending schools in the county. And then the grants and tuition make up the majority of the rest. The budget increase of 2.74 is a budget to budget comparison. And I guess I would just encourage all of the board to vote yes for this budget. I mean, Dr. Del Prior and everybody that's part of the budget committee does an outstanding job in keeping costs as low as possible and saving where they can. So I would just ask that you vote yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for anyone or discussion around that from anybody on the board? All right, hearing none, I guess we'll call for roll call vote on item number 7.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensinig,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman.
Yes, and item number 7, passed by unanimous vote. As Mrs. Stoll mentioned, you notice the ballot specifically there at your spot, which you'll need to sign and turn that in before you leave the meeting this evening. Moving on to item number 8 is the approval of the following agreements as per addenda. Item number 8A is the Capital Area Intermediate Unit Agreement for Agenda Manager Services. Item number 8B is the CoStarz Agreement for SALT request. And item number 8C is Substitute Teacher Service Agreement. And is there a motion to approve item number 8A, B, and C?
So moved.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded, and Dr. Musser has some information on this for us.
For item A, this is in reference to a service that we've procured from the Capital Area Intermediate Unit for the purpose of building and maintaining school board meeting agendas in a digital format. And the contract seeking approval is a 3-year contract beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending on June 30th, 2025. And the annual cost of this service is $3,900. This has been really helpful for us, especially as my office has transitioned with some of the personnel there to make sure all the documents are where they need to be as we're building agendas. So I would certainly recommend that we continue with that particular service. And then item C has to do with the substitute teacher service agreement. This is actually an addendum. This is something I had brought up at the work session, talking about the challenges that we were having. As you know, we had increased the daily rate for people who were willing to commit to be here for every day for the remainder of the school year. And we had some individuals who were interested and willing to do that, but we found we had additional people who were really not interested in that level of commitment. But we still needed to find a way to incentivize them to work on the days that they were available. So the request that I had presented at the work session 2 weeks ago was that we would move from $125 a day to $150 a day. And then for people who worked with us 20 days, on the 21st day, that daily rate would go up to $160 a day. You encouraged me at that point to proceed as quickly as possible to increase that so that we could just increase the incentive for substitutes to be here on a regular basis or as much as possible. So we worked with STS to put that into effect on Monday. You had said to go ahead, set up the agreement, and then bring it to the board for a formal vote. So that is now presented to you tonight for your formal approval of that, and STS was very agreeable to that arrangement as long as they had the nod to go ahead and start working with our substitutes. So that's item A and item C, and then Mrs. Stoll is going to talk about item B.
Okay, item B. As a result of the service center construction project, which we did a few years ago, the maintenance department was provided with an outbuilding that had the capacity to house road salt. So instead of purchasing salt from the municipalities, as was done in the past, the district's able to purchase the road salt in bulk quantities at CoStarz pricing. By signing the participation agreement that you have in front of you for the 22-23 school year, the district would agree to purchase 22 tons of salt between August 1st and October 31st of 2022, and then another 22 tons during the winter months of 22-23 school year, for a total of 44 tons. This is the same that we've done the past 2 years. Furthermore, the district's legally obligated to purchase at least 60% of this amount, but we may purchase up to 140% of that amount. So in other words, we have wiggle room depending how the winter goes and our capacity to bring more in. If you have a good winter and you have, your outbuilding filled, you can only bring so much more in. So that's the nice thing about this contract. The new state contract and relevant pricing is scheduled to be posted in August 2022. And that's after they go through the whole bid process. And that'll be posted. In 2021, we paid $61.20 per ton. And then this year, the price is $62.28. So it wasn't that much of an increase. Are there any questions on that?
My only question, Mrs. Stahl, is you said when we have a good winter. So is a good winter with snow or without snow?
Without snow.
And some of us actually like snow. Okay, I was just curious,
Sorry.
I was curious how you define.
Not a
it.
fan. Not a fan.
What's how you define a good winter?
Yes, an easy winner.
An easy winter, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on item number 8, A, B, and C? Okay, here and now we'll go to roll call vote.
Mrs. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
Mrs. Bollinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensenate,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman,
Yes, and item number 8 passed by unanimous vote. Item number 9 is the approval of the renewal of pollution liability insurance as per addendum. And is there a motion to approve item number 9?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. And again, Mrs. Stoll will have some information on this liability policy.
Okay, this is a request to renew for 1 year our pollution liability insurance that we have with Liberty Surplus Insurance Corporation for the service center fueling station at a cost of $840.68 for $3 million worth of coverage. If you remember, we had increased our coverage a year ago from 1 million to 3 million, and that was at the board's request. Our insurance agent also recommends this amount of $3 million. The fee of the $840.68 additionally includes terrorism coverage. The term runs from February 11th, 22 to February 11th of 2023. Last year's annual premium was $736.71. So the premium did increase just about $104 over the prior year. Any questions on that?
Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Mrs. Stoll. We'll go to roll call vote on item number 9.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
Mrs. Bollinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensenate,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman.
Yes, and item number 9 passed by unanimous vote. Item number 10 is the approval of the delinquent taxes relating to the Lancaster County Tax Claim Bureau as per addendum. And is there a motion to approve item number 10?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded, and Mrs. Stoll will have more information on this item as well.
Okay, you have in front of you a listing of the 2021-22 delinquent taxes. These are the taxes that are outstanding as of December 31st, 2021. We're asking that these unpaid property taxes be turned over to the Lancaster County Tax Claim Bureau for collection. The annual revenue projections, when we budget for our revenue that comes in through property taxes, we actually budget 96 to 97% collection rate in any single budget year. And then we also budget on a different line for the delinquent taxes. The number of properties that were turned over for collection from this past year have actually decreased from the prior year. Also, the dollar amount has also decreased from last year. Once delinquent taxes are turned over, property owners do have the ability to work out payment plans with the Tax Claim Bureau. So we do have individuals who have already said to us, because they can't have a payment plan with the school district,
The only thing that we offer is an installment plan. It's easier for them to go through the tax claim bureau and set that up. So they'll actually allow their taxes to become delinquent so they can have that arrangement. For the 21-22 tax year, the delinquent total that we're turning over is $436,975.87. This is actually the lowest dollar amount turned over in at least the last 13 years. So that was good news. The number of properties being delinquent turned over on 166 properties, and that's the second lowest number of properties that we've had to turn over for the past 13 years. So the numbers are going down, and that is good news.
Yeah, very good.
Sherry, is there a lot of just repeat? Is that, so that's a strategy people use to kind of make?
We do have a lot of the same people.
you have
who are
frequent
delinquent
flyers
on a
on that
regular
program.
basis, yeah. And we do send out notices to remind people if we see they're behind. Try to help them remember.
Okay, any additional questions on item number 10? And here now we'll go to roll call vote.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel?
Yes.
Mr. Sensenay?
Yes.
Mr. Renninger?
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Grable?
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman?
Yes. And item number 10 passed by unanimous vote. Item number 11 is the approval of the 2022-2023 Cocalico High School Educational Planning Guide as per addendum. Is there a motion to approve item number 11?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded, and Dr. Musser has some additional information for us.
So what you have in front of you is the Cocalico High School Education Planning Guide. This has special attention given to it because it ties into our graduation requirements. And if you recall, we had done quite a bit of work several years ago to look at those graduation requirements, look at the courses that needed to be taken for graduation. And for a while, we had two versions of the guide that were available to our students because the ones who had started 9th grade under the old guidelines continued to have one set of courses that they needed to select from, and then the ones who started high school after we made those changes had a new set. So this guide is now reflective of everybody's graduation requirements starting next year. So we've achieved that milestone so that all 4 years who are in the high school next year will have the same expectations. You heard a report on all of this at the last work session. Nothing has changed other than some minor edits as far as going to the printer and making sure all of that was clean and ready to go. While some courses will be discontinued due to lack of student interest, there were 4 new courses that we talked about, 2 in family and consumer sciences and 2 in technology education. And that should come as no surprise because those are the 2 areas where we are really expanding in our construction project because we just have such a high level of interest. And actually, if you saw the electives tonight in 8th grade, I think that's probably going to continue based on the students' comments and what we're hearing in the classrooms there. So the titles of the new courses are Sewing and Fashion Design 2, Adult and Family Living, Welding and Metal Fabrication, and Precision Machining with CNC. And Mr. Benich is here if you have any additional questions, but I don't think there's anything new to share based on what was shared last week. So any questions about that?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Musser. And hearing no questions about that, item number 11, we'll go to roll call vote.
Mrs. Ballinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel?
Yes.
Mr. Sensenay?
Yes.
Mr. Renninger?
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Grable?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman?
Yes, and item number 11 passes by unanimous vote. Item number 12 is the adoption of the policy manual update as per addendum. Is there a motion to approve item number 12?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. And again, Dr. Musser has some information on this one.
This is in reference to policy 203. Policy 203 is tied into the Pennsylvania school code, and there is reference to exemptions for immunizations. And our policy talked about those exemptions that they could be requested by parents for religious or medical reasons, but school code was even more specific and included the phrase "or on the basis of a strong moral or ethical conviction similar to a religious belief." So in the policy, wherever it was mentioned that a request could be made on religious grounds, we added that additional phrase "on the basis of a strong moral or ethical conviction similar to a religious belief." So that comes through the policy a number of times. So that was presented to you a month ago for a first reading. There have been no modifications since then, so it's presented again for a second reading.
Okay, you've had an opportunity to review that policy. Any questions specifically for today? And hearing none, we'll go to roll call vote. Thank you, Dr. Musser.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensenig,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman.
Yes, and item number 12 passes by unanimous vote. We come to item number 13, which is the approval of the recommendation from student hearing request as per addendum. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Item number 13 is a confidential student issue, and so there'll be no additional information or questions. We'll go right to roll call vote.
Mr. Sensenig,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner. Yes. Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman.
Yes, thank you. Item number 13 passes by unanimous vote. Item number 14 is the approval of Jessica Townsley, the Cocalico High School Assistant Principal as District Attendance Officer. Is there a motion to approve item number 14?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded, and Dr. Musser has additional information for us.
And Mrs. Townsley looks so excited about this new role. So this is, every building must have at least one approved attendance officer to manage matters related to attendance and truancy. And typically we request board approval of our principals and assistant principals to carry out these responsibilities, because if we do need to go to court for any reasons, they are our representatives for that. And Mrs. Townsley is new to this role, so we are requesting approval to add her to the list of attendance officers for Cocalico School District. And actually, it's Mr. Bennett that looks even happier, I think, to pass that on to her. So, just, Mrs. Marley, you'll have to help him sustain his enthusiasm back there.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Musser. Any questions, comments, discussion around that motion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to roll call vote on number 14.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensenig,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman.
Yes, and item number 14 passes by unanimous vote. Item number 15 begins our personnel part of the agenda, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Musser.
And with your request, we'll take items, with your approval, we'll take items A, B, and C together.
To the board, Dr. Musser has asked to take those three together. Is there any opposition or anything that you would want to take out from those three? Okay, and hearing none, we'll do those three together.
Item A is the approval of correction to the retirement date for Christopher Irvine, Cocalico High School Principal, from January 20th, 2022 to January 21st, 2022. We realized there was an error in the way we had that approved by the board. His letter for retirement was resignation for the purpose of retirement effective. No, his wording was that he would be, with his last date of work would be January 20th. So we really needed to make his retirement effective on the 21st. So making sure that his benefits all lined up on the right date. We wanted to make sure that all the paperwork was in order. So that's what item A is, a correction to that. Item B is the approval of the following professional staff resignations for the purpose of retirement. The first is Howard Boots, elementary instrumental music teacher, effective June 10th, 2022. Howard has been employed by the district for 31 years. He has served as the elementary band director in all 3 elementary schools, in addition to serving as the high school marching band assistant director for many years. I think it's safe to say that most of our families, if their students have been involved in band or instrumental music of any sort, they probably had Mr. Boots as a teacher. And then the next one is Lori Good, Denver elementary teacher, effective the end of the 2021-2022 school year. Lori has been employed by the district for 32 years. For most of those years, she has been a 3rd grade teacher in the district. I will also add that she and I were 1st grade teachers together for a while at Adamstown Elementary. And the third one is Jeffrey Schenk, ESL teacher, effective the end of the 2021-2022 school year. He has been employed with the district for 26 years. Jeffrey started his career as an elementary teacher and moved into an ESL teacher role at the beginning of the 2020-2021 school year. And then item C is the approval of several long-term substitute teachers per diem rate based on starting teacher's salary. And that will be with the expectation that they complete all their state and district requirements. The first is Deborah Aiken, Cocalico High School mathematics teacher, effective the 2nd semester of the 2021-2022 school year. The second is Janine Basaccio, certified school nurse, effective the 2nd semester of the 2021-2022 school year. And the third is Diane Stillman, Cocalico High School reading specialist and ESL teacher, effective January 20th, 2022 through the end of the 2021-2022 school year. And these are all here to provide replacements for teachers who are on sabbaticals, or like Mrs. Townsley, who vacated her role to become the assistant principal. So that's items A, B, and C.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Musser. I'd like to entertain a motion on item number 15, A, B, and C.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, discussion around any of that? My only comment would be is to consider, Howard Boots and Lori Good and Jeffrey Schenk, and to think about like the number of years of service that they've given us. That kind of longevity in teachers really does, it speaks significantly of the district and the stability of the community. We appreciate that. Okay, hearing no others, we'll go to roll call vote.
Mr. Buckwalter,
Yes.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Grable,
Yes.
Mrs. Fox,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel,
Yes.
Mr. Sensenig,
Yes.
Mr. Renninger,
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman.
Yes, and item number 15, A, B, and C passes by unanimous vote.
And with your approval, we'll take D, E, F, and G as one item.
Does a board member have any reason why we can't take them together? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and group them.
Item D is the approval of the following support staff resignations. The first is Mildred Hollywood, part-time special education paraprofessional, effective December 15, 2021. The second is Carrie Haynes, part-time special education paraprofessional, effective December 22nd, 2021. The third is Sherry DeWitt, part-time math and reading classroom support paraprofessional, effective December 30th, 2021. And the fourth is Catherine Schweitzer, administrative assistant to the Director of Buildings and Grounds for the purpose of retirement, effective June 30th, 2022. And there's another example of someone who worked for Cocalico for 25 years. E is the approval of the hiring of the following support staff. The first is Susan Grasaffi, part-time licensed nurse, effective January 3rd, 2022. The second is Corinne Swigert, part-time special education paraprofessional, effective January 3rd, 2022. The third is Tori Laudermilk, part-time special education paraprofessional, effective January 12th, 2022. The fourth is Kylie Carlson, part-time special education paraprofessional, effective January 24th, 2022. The item F is the approval of supplemental contracts for the 2021-22 school year. Many of those are for the purpose of providing mentoring for any of the people that we have added as long-term substitute teachers. G is the approval of STS employed guest teachers, and that's something that we have on every agenda so that we can utilize their services with your approval to help in our classrooms when we need substitute teachers. So that's items D, E, F, and G.
Thank you very much, Dr. Musser. We're looking for a motion to approve item number 15, D through G.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions about any of those? And hearing none, we'll go to roll call vote.
Ms. Wagner. Yes. Mr. Grable.
Yes.
Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
Mrs. Ballinger.
Yes.
Mrs. Blickel.
Yes.
Mr. Senseney.
Yes.
Mr. Renninger.
Yes.
Mr. Buckwalter.
Yes.
Reverend Eshelman.
Yes, and item number 15, D through G passes by unanimous vote.
And that is the end of personnel.
Thank you very much. Item number 16 is our reports, and we're going to begin with IU 13. Mr. Buckwalter.
Thank you, Mr. President. The IU 13 met on January January 12th at the IU building in person. At the time, we elected a new executive director for the IU. Dr. Barnhart, after 7 years of service to the IU, will be stepping down on March 31st. With the IU elected Mr. Matthew Stem. He has served as a principal at Lancaster and assistant superintendent and with the Department of Education in Ontario, Pennsylvania. I look forward to working with Mr. Stem. He has family who lives here in Cocalico, so he has ties to our community. We also elected a new board president at the time. It's Dr. Joseph Fulton from Penn Manor, our longtime board president. Was not reelected. Thank you. End of the report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buckwalter. And we move on to item number 16B, which is career and technology. Mr. Renninger.
Thank you, Reverend Eshelman. We met on December the 13th, 2021. Again, that was our reorganization meeting. I just wanted to review with the board our election of officers as well. Mr. Craig Hummer from Elizabethtown School District was voted chairman of the Joint Operating Committee. Mr. Miller Epic was voted vice chairman. He's from Warwick. Ms. Deborah Sturgis was voted secretary. She's from Donegal. Ms. Mara Cresswell McGann is the assistant secretary, and she's from School District of Lancaster. And then finally, our treasurer, we voted Mr. James Burns, and he's from Lampeter Strasburg. We also voted Dr. Michelle Balliette from Elizabethtown. She is the appointed superintendent of record as well. As far as our meeting, we did, under personnel, we did have one key resignation, Mr. James Brumkin, who was principal at Willow Street campus. He's been there since 2015. He is retired. And as he said, he took a job that he just couldn't refuse. So I don't know what that job is, but he's certainly going to be missed. Replacing him as interim principal at Willow Street will be Mr. Jeremy King. He was the assistant principal in Mount Joy, and so he will take over for Mr. Brumkin after he has left, since he has left. As far as committee meetings, I am going to be serving on the Finance Committee for this coming year. And the only other thing related to that was Dr. Del Prior in the meeting did present the general fund budget that you all are voting on tonight. So our next meeting is this Thursday, January 27th. It will be held at the Brownstown campus.
End of report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Renninger. Item number 16C is federal and special education programs. Thank you. And item number 17 is superintendent's report, so we'll turn to Dr. Musser.
So this is January, which is also Board Appreciation Month. So we have a couple of things planned for you. In front of you, you have a certificate, and I just want to make sure I pull that up so that I say this appropriately. It is specific to your time and dedication to strengthening public education in our community. So I want to thank you for that. You have put in lots of extra time in the last 2 years in particular. And so I think this is very well deserved that it specifically mentions your time, because this has not been a small amount of time that you have given to school board work lately. So you have that, but I have a feeling that you will enjoy some of the other presentations even more. And I believe we have Mr. Bennett, who's going to make a few comments about some of the other things, and then Dr. Haldeman is also going to make some comments. So I'll turn to Mr. Bennett next.
Good evening, everyone. So sitting in front of you, which should look very familiar, is a lantern, because the board presentation last month was based upon that. So you've already heard a great deal about it. This is definitely the man behind the lanterns here. This is
And you can turn them on if you'd like to for fun, because there's a switch on the bottom. And they were tested.
They were.
specifically.
And he's going to just share a little bit of the backstory with them and that particular day. His efforts were greatly appreciated to make a whole day possible with each of the elementary students, and as they came over to the high school on 3 separate occasions. Go ahead, Carsten.
Yeah, it was a wonderful project with all the third graders. I know you had your full presentation. My students, the high school students that were in the materials technology class that helped on that 2 days with the third graders, we had them assemble them for you. So I'm glad they worked, can't stay together. Because the third graders did it, so I'm glad my high schoolers could also take care of the situation. On the top, we personalized for you a little bit extra, because I'm pretty sure you didn't want tech ed on it. But it was a wonderful project. The kids my students had a blast. I know, like I said, I know you had your presentation with them, but my high school students were like, oh, we're doing this again next year. And I'm just kind of excited to see maybe the next round of third graders come in. So just wanted to pass along a little extra ones as well for you, and a little thank you gift as well. So not that it's a ride for our awesome reno, but I'm really very excited as well. So thank you.
And I will say, I had talked to the administrators one day at one of our meetings, and I said, does anybody have any suggestions for a gift for the school board members when we get to January for School Board Appreciation Month? And I believe you had 3 high school administrators reach out to you on the same day separately to say, can you do something for the school board? So
it's kind of a high school project, it's kind of a third grader project, so it's somewhere in between.
Right. Thank you.
These done in Denver Elementary or?
All 3 schools came up.
Okay.
So Denver walked over, Adamstown, they came over.
On middle school then, okay.
Yeah, they didn't walk.
And as soon as it's a basic wood burning.
No, I guess it's a whole combo of things. The top and bottom have pocket holes. They were drilled and pre-assembled with the CNC router.
Right.
The sides are the vinyl cutter, and the top was with the laser engraver that we have here at the high school.
That's okay. That's right. Yeah.
So it's a kind of a nice combination of all our tools in the department as well.
Why do you think it was burned? I thought, how did you do that? I forgot the laser. I forgot the laser. That's really cool. I really like that.
And that's an instrumental tool in our classes. It gets used hard. It's great.
Yeah.
So very, very inventive.
Yes, so we appreciate this because the students shared about this very excitedly. And so it's really nice that they get to have a sample for themselves.
When they were here, I said, I want one of those, you know.
Well, now you got
There
it.
you go. Did not get your pumpkin cookies.
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chips. Not that.
Yes.
So,
Go notice for that.
all right, thank you very much.
Oh, you're
Mr.
welcome.
Tinsley.
Thank you.
And then we also have some library books in front of you. So Dr. Haldeman's going to share a little bit about how these were selected for you, or rather on behalf of you.
Exactly. Thank you. First of all, thank you for your service. We know you put in many, many hours. And as is our standard practice, we have purchased books from each library in your honor. If you open up the very first page, you will see the template that lists your name forever and ever. So again, these were chosen by the building librarians. They each had different wishes for you and different focus areas. Adamstown, they looked for stories that were engaging and told stories of triumph over difficult situations. They were very interested in a balance of fiction and nonfiction. At Denver, books were selected from one of the students' favorite series, which allows the readers to choose their own paths and choose their own adventures. Reamstown books are all nominees for the Pennsylvania Young Readers' Choice Awards. The books for the middle school are new books that support our literature workshop curriculum. And the high school books were chosen because the books were nonfiction and provide students with the opportunity to learn about real life events representing various disciplines: sports, politics, literature, science, and history. If you were so inclined to take one or more of them home to read, please see me, sign them out ahead of time, or sign them out just so we can track where they are, but they will be placed in each of our 5 libraries in your honor. So thank you so much for your hard work and for serving our students and our community.
So yes, if you don't want to check them out, just leave them on your tables at the end and we'll put them in the libraries right away. If you do want to check them out, we'll come hunt you down if you don't return them within a month. So just like we have delinquent taxes, we also have delinquent people on book returns. So, but Dr. Haldeman will keep track of that on your behalf if you choose to take some of them with you. Okay. So I do want to, again, thank you for all of your service, and there's lots of different ways that we have tried to show that. If you go past the sign in front of the high school, I think there's a picture of the school board right now, and a thank you there. So a couple different ways that we're trying to promote that. We also want to celebrate some of our students. This was from Dr. Weaver. She shared this. We have a program in coordination with IU13. It's their materials handling and logistics transition program. And she wanted to make sure that we were aware, and I want to pass this on to the school board as well. Congratulations to Ethan Wickenheiser for being the November NHL Employee of the Month, and Kyle Snyder for being the December NHL Employee of the Month. So it's very nice when we see Cocalico students featured in these programs, and I wanted to share that with you as well. And then finally, we got something from the Pennsylvania Department of Education. They have looked at our single audit report that you heard about earlier in the school year. And the department is pleased to inform us that with respect to the federal financial assistance programs and everything that was reviewed in our single audit report for the fiscal year that ended on June 30th, 2021, it is approved and we are in compliance. So I just wanted to share that officially. We have now come full circle with that process and have the letter of approval from the Department of Education. So that concludes my reports for this evening, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Musser, and it is a privilege to serve the school district in our community, that's for sure. Item number 18 is opportunity for general comments, and we have no requests from the public for public comment, so I'll turn right to the board and ask for any kind of public comment from the board. Okay, hearing none, I'll go to item number 19, which is our adjournment, and I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. you very much. Meeting's adjourned.